Okay, Dee Dee, I have 3 questions for you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, so my very first question is, and I was thinking about this for my life, so I'm throwing it out to you. Is there something right now that you could do to change or adjust to bring more peace into your life? Get to even a better place? Like, is there anything right now you could think of and be like, this really could change a little?
It's funny you asked this question because on my coaching call this morning, one of the questions that my coach asked me was, what is one of your goals for the next 30 days? And I said, to stay at a place where my mind and my body and my soul are at peace. Because I have a lot going on over the next 30 days. And I thought, that is so funny you asked me that, because that is exactly what we talked about this morning on the coaching call. And so some of the things we talked about was, because of course the question is, well, how do you stay in that peace? And it's being mindful of my time in the mornings, having that quality quiet time with the Lord and not just rushing through it, and paying attention to the little cues in my body during the day of when angst or pressure or stress or the what ifs. What if this goes wrong? What if I can't make this happen right? Like, what if? Acknowledging that as soon as I hear it, and then reframing that what if.
Is there a certain time of day that you find that you have, if you're going to feel more pressure, angst, is there a time of day that it kind of sets in for you? Some people, the reason I ask is some people have this morning rush that is like exhausting. They just, that's just how it is in their family. There's this complete chaotic morning rush. And then some people have this afternoon lull where they get maybe tired and lethargic, so then all of a sudden they're feeling behind. Some people at the end of the day, they start thinking of all the things they didn't do for the day. Mm-hmm. So then that turning their brain off at night because their checklists are just so long. So is there a time for you that there's like, that you need to pay special attention to the cues that your body's giving you? Because I love that you say that, because it is so true. Like, our bodies totally tell a story. But is there a certain time of day that you really need to hone in a little closer?
My days are so random that I don't think I can say there's a certain time of day. I don't feel like our mornings are hectic or that afternoon lull. But when it will creep up on me the most is if I wake up in the middle of the night. And then sometimes I have a hard time turning my brain off at that point. That was something that happened regularly years ago. Not so much now, because I've learned different techniques and ways to meditate and things like that really help. But if it's going to creep up on me, it's usually when I'm not in motion. So,
well, I have 2 more questions, but I almost would like to stretch on that a little more, because I think there's a lot of listeners that probably can relate to that middle of the night, waking up with so much on your mind. So how have you worked through that? What techniques do you use in order to like assist you in being able to relax your body to fall back to sleep again?
One thing is learning to get into a comfortable position, a body position that your body can rest in, and practicing the deep breathing. Is so important. Prayer. If there is something that comes up in your mind and it's bothersome to you, taking it to the Lord in prayer and asking Him, why is this on my mind? Why is this on my heart? Is this something I need to pay attention to? Because sometimes I think the Lord will bring things to our attention when our spirits are quiet, and we're more attentive to listening, because a lot of times during the day we're go, 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 and we're not paying attention to the things he has to tell us. And so sometimes I think he speaks to us during that time, and you can see things differently. But sometimes it's just that anxiety or stress or fear builds up. And so, one, learning how to get into a comfortable position, doing the breathing techniques, meditating. All meditating is training your mind on what to think about. Mm. And that, it sounds kind of hokey to talk about meditation, but all it is just training your mind to say, this is what we're going to think about. And then prayer. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stretch on a little more on number 2, because I didn't learn proper breathing techniques until the last couple of years. Like, as far as that deep breathing. I mean, because to me, if I would think about deep breathing, it would just be sucking it all in, blowing it all out. But that's not actually the way that gets your body into, that you're combating thoughts and physical reactions with getting your body in alignment. So I know that not some of people listen to us on the podcast. Some people do watch the YouTube video. So I know that watching is not an option right here, but how could you explain a good breathing technique to someone that is listening?
So my way of deep breathing years ago was all chest breathing. I would take a deep breath, my chest would rise, let it out. And I thought that was deep breathing. But really,
and the anxiety was still there, right?
Yeah.
Like when you pull up in the chest, like you pull up your shoulders, like and you end up exactly where you were before.
Yeah, or maybe even worse, because you're a little lightheaded. If you're trying to take 10 deep breaths like that, you're like, oh gosh, now I'm lightheaded.
It's black right now. It's
black. I'm seeing spots. Yeah, maybe that's why that was so peaceful, because you just passed out. But I was fortunate enough to work with a coach who helped me with speaking, and one of the things she said is, you've cut off your air. And I said, what do you mean? Well, if you put your hand right at the base of your sternum, like right where the bottom of your rib cage comes together.
Right under your boobs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A little bit lower.
A little lower? Okay.
Yeah, like right there.
Well, it depends how many kids you've had as far as how low those are. But
Right.
Okay, sorry.
That's true. So when you take a breath in, you should feel your belly right there going out.
Immediately. With your breath,
Immediately.
you should feel your belly expand. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're not trying to make your belly expand. What you're doing is you're breathing from your diaphragm. It's like it's kind of like a balloon, but it's not round. It's just at the top. It's like an umbrella. Mm-hmm. And when you release your diaphragm, it goes all the way around the inside of your body, and so you can expand, and it gives space for your lungs to fill up down deep. And then when you squeeze in from your abdomen, you are actually pressing those lungs to put the air out. And it's amazing. It is amazing when you go through that proper breathing technique. You see children, babies are so good at this. So if you look at a baby laying on their back, they breathe and their bellies move, because that's how our bodies were made to breathe. And so the best way to practice this is actually laying down with your hand right there on your belly, and then getting used to that. And it's different than what you're used to, and so it takes practice. And you can take long breaths. You take a long breath in, pause
is really good. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Exhale, long breath out, pause, long breath in, and it revives you. It truly does.
Breathing these types of breaths when I'm feeling something creeping in that I want out. Like I don't want I can feel frustration or anxiety, or just things got busy all of a sudden,
Right.
it has become my first avenue is to do that breathing, and it changes everything. So
It does.
thanks for, I don't know, I'm sure there's like YouTube videos out there and stuff too to help people.
Yeah, for sure.
But if our listeners don't know how to do those amazing cleansing breaths, because also the weird thing is anxiety and those breaths can't like live together. They don't, you're not feeling the anxiety while you're going through that technique in order to get rid of them. It's like they just don't stay in the same house.
Well, you're having to think about the breath. You think about the breath in, you think about the breath out. Here's another one. If you're at a place and you think, oh, I feel that anxiety creeping in, but I can't lay down on the floor and do my breathing techniques or whatever, just take a breath in. Mouth closed, take a breath in. Okay, now press your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Mouth closed, and take a breath in. Isn't
I
that
don't
interesting?
know that one. Yes.
Yes.
So you can do that like if you're in public, for example,
In
or
public.
if you're in a stressful family, if you're at Christmas and Thanksgiving, you put your tongue to the roof of your mouth and you breathe.
Yeah. Or you're at a business meeting or around a table or any stressful event when you're like, okay, I just need a deep breath.
Yeah, but making sure that breath comes in from your diaphragm, like down low versus up here, is a game changer.
It is.
Oh, I feel like our podcast is over. Like the tip of the day has been given, but okay, I'm going to leave it there. I wanted to go ahead. I wanted to keep expanding on that because I thought that was great.
Yeah, it's a
tips.
game changer for sure. Even during exercise, taking some deep breaths during exercise changes in endurance exercises. It really changes.
Yeah, your heart
the
rate
game for you.
If you need your heart rate to come down, it can so much faster if you concentrate on those breaths.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay. So, I am really excited about today's topic. And I needed to ask you a prerequisite question before we started. So, we may have to pause a second if the answer is no.
Oh, no.
But are you familiar with the Taylor Swift song 22?
No.
Okay. So we're going to pause so Nicole can hear this song. Okay. So you get the gist of what the song is.
I do, yes.
Okay. So we're back from our break of hearing the song.
And I guess if you are a listener and you're not familiar with the song too, pause it right here and listen to it. So
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I heard this song and I was like, feeling 22. What does that even mean? Like, so I started thinking about my 20s. I was like, everybody's like, oh, your 20s, they're amazing. And she's saying, oh, I feel like I'm 22. And I thought, 20s were fun. 20s were such a confusing time, a transition time, a time of big decisions and big questions, and life changes so much in your 20s. And then I thought, this kind of is like high school too. People will tell you, oh man, when you're in high school, those are the best days of your life. Man, your high school days are the best days of your life. I liked high school. High school was fun. And I thought, why do people think it's the best days of their life? So that is where this topic is coming from today, about how we look back and say this one period of time was so amazing. It was the best. I loved it. It was fantastic. People tell you that when you have babies. They're like, man, enjoy it now because it's going to go quick. And as our kids have grown, we understand what they were saying. But at the time, you're like, if one more person tells me that my baby's sleeping every 3 hours, she's doing so good, gonna scream. Like, it's so funny how you look back so nostalgically. And I thought, do you think the people, when they're looking back on those times, during those times, they thought, these are the best days of my life? These days are amazing.
Probably not. No, not at all. I don't look back on my 20s at all. Like, that was amazing. I mean, but it was because we both had kids, like, started having babies in our 20s. And although I loved having babies, that is exhausting.
Mm-hmm. But other things happened in your 20s. So you finished college.
Yes.
You were trying to figure out, what's my career gonna look like? Your friend groups were changing.
So when I listen to the song, there is this feeling of freedom that she brings out in 22, like, the world is my oyster. And I don't know that I felt like that at 22, though. To tell you, I mean, I could go a lot of different ways with this topic, but I'm going to start here because I was wanting to figure out how to do life right. So that was stressful. Making the right decision in my career, going through the relationships of who I'm going to marry, beginning to feel like you're doing it right. And I feel like I was really judgmental in my early 20s too. And it happens to a lot of new moms. For example, like, you have all these decisions and you're making the best choice, and you are making the best choice, right? Like, the way that if I choose to co-sleep, or if I choose to breastfeed, if I choose to use cloth diapers, or if I choose to, like, all these different things. And then I had this sense of judgment of, I am making the best decision. And why is it that you aren't making that decision? Or I don't know. Now in my life, I'm like, we all just do the best we can.
Right.
Like, why is it that that time I did not see that as everybody is just trying to do the best they can? It doesn't mean that everybody makes the same decisions, and some do work out better than others.
Yeah.
But in my 20s, I was so obsessed with trying to make the right decision that I didn't feel free and frolicky. I was pressured. So I listened to that, and to tell you the honest truth, that song relates even more, I think, to where I'm at now. Now I'm like, the world is my oyster, I mean, I can change my career if I want to. If I want to focus on that, I can do it. I can pour myself into friendships and follow charities that I'm passionate about and do work, my hands and feet on the ground for the Lord. Whatever I'm called to do, like, I feel like I have the opportunity to do. I don't know that I felt like that at the time. When I was in my 20s, I felt like there was a right or wrong decision. And if I got off the path, it could be terrible. So the best days. So I did love high school. I did love it. I remember crying at graduation as if life was over. So that was... And then college, I didn't live the same kind of college life that everybody else did, due to the fact that I was a relationship girl. So that was always my focus. So I have a couple friendships from college that I have continued, but not a ton. I still have very close high school friendships though. And then I got married and had babies, and like, that's where my focus went. I look back that 30s started becoming fun. I do have one person that said to me one time, they were about to turn 30. They were 29. And I will remember, I think it was his birthday. And he was like, I just feel like life is over. And I was like, oh, say goodbye to your 20s. Like, it just keeps getting better. So I think that's where I feel. 30s were great. 40s, I mean, I'm halfway through now. This year I'll be 45 in December. I think they're fantastic. I'm excited for 50s. Like, I just feel like the doors are opening because I'm not hindering myself with this belief system that I have to do certain things a certain way. I don't know. How do you feel about...
No, okay. So one, I do want to come back to what you're saying because it's the perfect segue into the next question. But I was the same way. Like, I thought, I wouldn't want to go back to do my 20s again. I wouldn't want to go back to high school. I don't want to go back to college. And all of those, I had a good time in those, but I wouldn't. And so that's why that song was so intriguing to me, because she was like, I feel like I'm 22. And it was so like fun and upbeat. But one of the things she talked about, if you listen to the lyrics, she says, we're happy, we're free, we're confused, we're lonely in the best way. It's miserable and magical. I had to write them down because I have something known as chronic lyricosis. I make up my own words to songs. But this is what I think she said in these songs. And I was like, okay, so she's recognizing
all the emotions.
But when you're in that place, when you're feeling happy and free and confused and lonely, it's like, it doesn't feel so magical, you know? So one of the things I was going to ask you, and you started touching on it, was how can it feel that way? How can it feel magical? How can there be this fun energy around it, even though you're acknowledging it's not ideal?
Oh, yeah, that's good. So I think it's part of embracing where you're at. And I don't know that it's not taught in school to be in the moment, to truly appreciate the moment, live in gratitude. Like, that's not taught in school.
No, in fact, you're conditioned to prepare for the future.
Yes, look ahead.
Prepare for that test so that you can make good grades because your job depends on it. So you can, well, first, if you're going to go to college, so you can get into a good college or the college you want to, so you can get the job that you want to. Like, it's always looking ahead, and it's kind of like if you took the college path, you get to the end of your schooling and you're like, oh, this is it? Like, this is what I've been working for my whole life? Even if it's not bad, it's kind of like, where are my people? Because you scatter, typically. And then you're also conditioned to making new friends every 4 years. You might keep some, but as you transition from middle school to high school, your friend group changes, usually. And then definitely from high school to college, your community changes. And then college to work life. It's a lot of change every few years.
Yeah, and also because I didn't have a close relationship with the Lord during that time. I was pursuing him, but I just really still we hadn't really had a lot of intimate time. And so I did a lot of beating myself up for decisions that I had made in the past also. So meanwhile, in my 20s, while I was looking forward and trying to plan and do the right thing and make my parents proud and be the kind of mother once I have this baby that I'd always dreamed of being, you know, and there was all these idealisms around what we had seen or wanted or what we wanted to live up to, but I was also still beating myself up with decisions that I had made in the past. They were showing up and haunting me every so often. So I was either in front or in back, in front and back. I wasn't there. I mean, that was the difference between having my first child and having my second child. I remember, no, I'm not even going to get to my third. It wasn't until I had Jonah that I was like, those middle of the night feedings became like super awesome, precious time. Yeah. Because I was right there with him and this was our time, and I knew it was short because I'd already done it with two of my kids. So it was like I had to learn twice, like that this doesn't have to be the dreaded middle of the night, you know, session. This could literally be your time with them. But I mean, I don't know, I'm creeping on my 30s now. You know, like I had to go through some life experience to learn that. Really though, what I would love for like our daughters to know is you don't have to let things in your past like keep showing up. You don't have to. You can let them go. It's a skill and you have to work on it, but you can. And furthermore, you don't have to always be in front of everything. Like right now, there is you could be in the moment and enjoy it just like you're 22. So you're right. She went through all of these emotions. It wasn't like it was all fun and all amazing. She'd just seen that she was all there. She was present through it all, which there's a lot of beauty in being in it.
But it took her coming out of it to look back at it, to have time. And I think it's hilarious, let me just say, that we're dissecting this Taylor Swift song. But
hey, Taylor Swift can talk about some life now.
She can. But it just brought this up in my head, and I thought, this is really good to know. And like you said, living in the moment is a skill, and finding joy in that moment, even though it's not perfection. Finding joy in that moment. And there was something else you said that I wanted to jump in on.
Well, let me jump into something that I did even later on, and you got involved with it too. That's why I want to kind of tell this story, because it is a pretty funny story. So the year that I turned 40, I decided that I wouldn't say no. I would say yes to everything and all opportunities unless it went against my, moral beliefs. Like I wasn't going to do anything that I felt that the Lord would object to. Mm-hmm. But I was going to be more open to saying yes, because I definitely had lived in this little bubble of my comfort zone. And I was like, no, I'm 40. This whole year, it was a whole year of saying yes. And it was a pretty incredible year because of it. But there was one particular experience that I was invited to an MMA fight. Yes. And so, just to let you know, I'm not an MMA watcher. So this is definitely something and I don't watch fights either. And I've never been in a fight, and I don't. So this was definitely something completely out of my comfort zone.
And my husband loves them.
Yes.
And so I tried to embrace it, and I watched one, and I was like, no, I can't anymore.
So I knew that Dee Dee's husband loved this, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to say yes. I've been invited, and it's different and a new experience, and I'm going to say yes. And I need somebody to come with me. And I know that Dee Dee's husband likes it. So I did propose. Now, the funny thing was that if Ken probably would have asked Dee Dee to do this,
no.
Any other time, she, sitting in, even watching it pay-per-view was like not something you had. But because Nicole put it out there, you attended this MMA fight with me.
I did. And okay, so we had to plan our outfits because we were so close to the ring. They told us we might have blood splattered on us, and we needed to wear dark clothes.
Yes.
I watched it with one eye open. In fact, when Nicole calls me, it is the two of us and one of her friends that was with us that pops up, and we all have like this cringe on our face. Somebody took the picture. I don't know who took it.
I don't know. I think hilarious. My husband did. Yeah. You literally have one eye open, and it's big. Yeah. There's one big eye and then one shut. Yeah. But
we had so much fun.
So much fun. And in all reality, although I can't say I'm an MMA fan, my respect for them as far as being strategic athletes, it was very interesting to watch. You could tell you have to like be thinking of your neck. You have to be above, you could be getting punched in the face, but you've got to be thinking about your next move. Like there's a lot of strategic work in that.
Yeah.
So I did have I have a better appreciation for them as athletes for sure. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I don't know why I just told the story. That's how my year of 40 went. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I've stepped into 41, 42, 43, and 44 with embracing new things consistently. That was one of the greatest things I could have done for myself at 40, is said, this year, I'm going to do new things, even if it's not comfortable. And it has opened this feeling of fun and freedom and fear, like all the different, she went through a bunch of emotions. Mm-hmm. I can say that through different things that I've done over the last 5 years, that I've had lots of different emotions, but on the other hand, it's been awesome.
Right, yeah. So one of the thoughts I had about this was, I think the secret, or one of the secrets to high school days feeling like they were amazing, or college days, or 20s, or whatever that time frame is the hope that you had, the expectancy that you had in that time, because you are expecting good things to happen, right? And you are not in a place where it's like, well, life's done. Like the guy you were talking about who was turning 30 and he was like, I feel like life is over. You know, in that mindset and that enthusiasm for life doesn't have an age limit.
No.
And you can carry that with you to all phases of life. And so you can embrace the next phase. You can embrace it as, oh gosh, my life is over. My kids are leaving the house. I'm going to be an empty nester, which, by the way, I don't like that term. And I think we need to come up with a better term, because that's a sad little phrase. But, you know, you can be sad about it, or you can be excited that you have a new day. You can be excited about what's to come in the future that you don't even know is on the way.
And I do have a lot of anticipation going further on. I think that's why it's exciting for me. I'm like 45, bring it on. 50, bring it on. And I know there's some other ailments that come with that. I mean, again, I talked about my loss of eyesight, how it's slowly dwindling. So incredibly frustrating that I am losing my vision in the last couple years. But empty nester. Okay, I have several years ahead of me still, because my kids were stretched across the board, which I always think it's funny when I tell people and they're like, you're really stretched. And I'm like, yeah, I was buying feminine products and pull-ups at the same time. Right. I don't know, what. Right. But on the other hand, I love this heading off to college time. I think it's so exciting. Because also it's part of, okay, let's go back to the song. I'm excited for her to start feeling these emotions of learning about life and feeling real life and the fun and the ups and the downs, and it's hers. She gets to do it on her own. And I am so excited for her. And I have another one right now she's a junior in high school, but we're just starting to talk about college. And I'm so excited for her because, again, I'm thinking, what is this path going to take her? Where's the Lord going to take her? Who's she going to meet, along the road? Where's she going to end up? This is so exciting. I'm excited about being a grandma. I know that sounds so weird. And
in a few years.
In a few years.
Yes, not right now.
Not right now. But I think that's going to be like the funnest job ever.
Oh, yeah.
So, and having a son-in-law and then a daughter-in-law, I think that sounds fantastic. I mean,
But you're choosing to find that excitement in the future. And I'm in the same boat with you, too. I'm so excited about what the future holds. And sometimes I think I have to check myself and be like, no, this is great to be feeling like this, because you're conditioned to start feeling like, especially when you talk to certain people, oh, yeah, the older I get, the more I hurt. And I'm like, I don't want to hurt. Yeah, I don't hurt. I feel great.
So do you think we're conditioned for loss versus gain?
To expect loss versus
to feel loss, to embrace loss more than gain.
I would think we may be conditioned in our society to expect it.
To expect loss.
Because as you get older, all these bad things are going to happen. But it doesn't have to be. Mm-mm. And we've kind of touched on that before. But one of the things that I just really wanted to share too with our younger listeners, if you feel like, okay, everybody said college would be the best days of my life, but I don't really know that I even like it.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with you, and you're not missing out on it. Or if you are in your early 20s and you're like, people keep saying how great the 20s are, but I'm trying to recover from bad decisions I made earlier in relationships or whatever, and pay off all this credit card debt from all the credit cards I got in college because I got a free t-shirt every time I opened up a new credit card, and like recover from the mistakes that are still affecting your current life while preparing for whatever this career is that you're not even sure you want to be in. Like this crazy time of life, finding new friends, being okay with your friends, your circle of friends getting smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's something that happens just naturally. And that's a good thing too, because the quality of your relationships can really increase with those close core group of friends.
Yes, and I would rather have one or two of my people
Mm-hmm.
than have a room full of people that don't really know me.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
and that's an adjustment
mm-hmm.
too.
Yeah, and I think also there's an adjustment of feeling, you know, when you're in a house and you're always felt like you're the best. Like you get told like you're the best, or you are so loved and so valued. If you're feeling like that, and then I think that there's youth that go outside of the house and the world doesn't treat you like you're the best.
Right.
And that's
or doesn't cater to every desire.
You get a job and your boss, you know, like tells you to do your work and then tells you to go home, and you're not constantly being fed. Like there is a lot of adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why we have to just find it for ourselves. Like if we expect the world to feed us, to make us feel better, and we are not relying on knowing that the Lord has good plans for us and he loves us, and really that's the only audience that we're performing for.
Mm-hmm.
If we are constantly just getting tied up in world and expectations or whatever, it's like we're constantly drained and disappointed. And what she's going back to is a time when she was right there and she wasn't being drained and disappointed. It was just free and fun, and
mm-hmm.
it can be like that all the time. I mean, even like there's stuff that sucks. I mean, you know, we're in places or whatever, but if we don't know how to embrace the moment and the joy and the people and the emotion, just like embrace life, then we're going to get sucked in the, I don't know what's going to happen next. Like, I don't know how I'm ever going to get out of this, or I'm too far in and there's no hope. You know, like you're
mm-hmm.
here, you're in front of it or you're in back of it instead of being like right there.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to listen to the Taylor Swift song again so I can make sure that I start singing that now. And it's not, I'm going to say 45. I'm going to sing it because I don't relate to the age, but I relate to the emotions of, it's good.
Well, I remember feeling like I was so busy in college. And
Yeah,
then
isn't that
looking
funny?
back, and I was not that busy. But we had such a good time, you know, too. And so I a little bit relate with that age of kind of carefree, go with the flow. And then I feel like I wasn't super thoughtful in some of my decisions, and then I had to pay for those decisions for a while. But it's not a big deal.
So what's your fondest, like if you went back, and I know that like a college memory of a feeling of like this euphoric feeling that Taylor Swift is talking about. Do you have a, like, you don't have to get specific on situations, but you could something you could relate to it?
Yeah, I mean, it took me back to the days where we were just getting ready to go out. No plans, no specific plans, just hanging out, my roommates, my girlfriends getting ready, and we didn't know where we were going to go or who we were going to see. We were just embracing whatever came, you know, and it was just fun, just lighthearted and fun. And so I think, and she's singing about a night, like going out like that,
mm-hmm.
and just kind of casting all the cares away. And when we were going out, I wasn't like, oh, but I have this huge exam next Tuesday. No, that would take care of itself on Monday. You know? And I think that we let go of the fun sometimes as we get older.
Because fun, okay, this is a great segue to get into. Because almost as adults, sometimes we see fun as irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been me. And I'll tell you what made that change is when I got into youth ministry. So I became a real fuddy-duddy. I mean, I don't think that you and I even really knew each other then. And I mean, I was fuddy-duddy. I was no fun.
No, we were in near each other, but we never spoke, really. Mm-mm. We didn't talk much.
No. So, yeah, we were in the same Sunday school class, I believe, but it was a very large Sunday school class.
Yeah.
And
Annalise was in my small group.
She was, yeah.
For like 2 years, I think, before we really talked much.
Wow. That is so true.
Yeah.
So, I was a fuddy-duddy. Like, I was not a fun person, which I think is hilarious because I think I'm pretty fun now.
I think you're super fun. Like, I go to MMA fights with you if you say let's go because I'm like, we're going to have fun.
So I wasn't fun because that would be irresponsible.
Okay.
Right? Like, because I want to be...
you're a grown-up.
I'm a grown-up. I'm a mom. I'm... This raising children is serious. Mm-hmm. Supporting my husband in his job. Like, I had a job. I had a job to do, and So then I decide to go on a mission trip. I feel that God's calling me on a mission trip. I don't know which one to sign up for because our church has a number of mission opportunities, and I see a mission trip to Haiti. So I think, wow, like Haiti. Well, if I'm going to go on a mission trip, like this would definitely be, jumping out of my comfort zone in a big way. So I signed my name on it. So I get the phone call about the Haiti mission trip, and I find out it's a youth trip. And so I go to the first meeting, and there's a couple youth in there, and I have told these youth to this day that I have so much gratitude for their ridiculously bubbly, dorky, loud, obnoxious things that they would say and do. But during the meeting, I was like, oh no, I am not going on this trip. Like, I can't stand that one and that one. And I cannot put up with them for a full week. I mean, I was completely ready to back out. And I got talked out of it. So I had to really pray about it. And I was like, this is such a bad idea. And I spent the week with these kids who made me laugh and made me play. And we went through some hard stuff, and we talked the hard stuff, and then tears flowed, and then they made me smile. And then I started getting involved with youth ministry after that. That's what kicked it off, was that very first trip to Haiti. And then those kids made me laugh and made me play and play and play and dream and, and encourage them to dream. And all of a sudden, it brought it out in me that being fun is fun, and it's not irresponsible.
Right. Yeah.
It's joyous.
Yeah, it's just living with joy.
So anyway, I am so thankful that took off in me, so that I try to like spread that joy, because I know when I see somebody that I'm like, oh, she was me like 10 years ago or whatever, because I get it. I get how you get this. Like, life is, you have to be responsible. You have lots of things on your plate. I do too. Yeah. But having fun is not irresponsible. It is, God gave us fun, so.
And I love that you talk about how you embrace it more as you get older. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited about what's to come. Like, super excited about what's to come. And what we're doing is really fun, too. And it's work, but it's fun. I enjoy it. But I think it's all in the mindset that whatever age you are, you can have hope and an expectation of good things to come and live with that. And it's going to bring joy into your life. So you can look back on your 20s or your 30s or your 40s. And it's good memories, but you also remember the icky parts, but it doesn't define it, you know?
Yeah, those are like the lessons learned.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
But, so let's not.
Yeah.
Let's go have fun.
Yeah. So it was fun talking Taylor Swift with you.
I'm gonna like add her to my iPod now. Or my iPod, isn't that funny? That defined my age. I do not have an iPod. Okay, do they even make them anymore? I'm gonna add that to my iPhone.
I'm gonna add that to my mixtape.
I'm gonna pull out that record.
I'm gonna wait until the radio station plays it and then hit record. Do you remember doing that?
Yes. Do you remember calling into the radio station
to make a suggestion?
And then you record your voice because it's so exciting that you made it on?
That was so funny.
See, we need to write our own song because we've got a lot of good stuff, but there is so much good stuff to come. I mean, really, it's... Oh.
And Taylor Swift is great. I like her. She's cute. I like the song "Begin Again." Maybe we'll just do a series on Taylor Swift songs. Next song, "Begin Again."
Begin Again. Pause.
It's
Nicole
so
needs to
good.
listen to the song.
It's one of my favorites.
Awesome. I loved the topic. Like, I hope that I'm gonna listen to it again just because I want to embrace that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right, if you want to learn more about what we're doing or about our coaching business or to connect with us on social media, go to www.liveyourdesign.life. Until next time, guys, see ya.